Good morning, YTPC. How are you all doing? You can just see behind me my Union Jack is at half mast because we lost the Prince yesterday. 99 though is a damn good innings, so, but very sad also for the Queen to lose a husband after so many years. Well, in this video I wanted to do the second tobacco in my English blend series, and prompted by one or two subscribers who commented, I opted for the Maltese Falcon from Cornell and Deal. Not this Maltese Falcon. This one. And I'm smoking it in my, actually the first meerschaum pipe that I bought, this pickaxe one. I didn't get this directly from Turkey like my other meerschaums, but from a web shop in the United States, which was on sale. It's got a lovely pattern to it and it's colouring up slowly but surely. But as I've several times mentioned, I use a meerschaum when I'm trying to examine a tobacco for the first time perhaps, or when it's a little bit of a wetter tobacco that's not so easy to dry, or if it's a hot burning tobacco that might otherwise give me tongue bite. This is the advantage of having all different pipes of different construction. One subscriber actually said, can you tell me how you choose your pipe for the tobacco? And he's right that the tobacco is what partly chooses the pipe. That's probably a whole nother video. But I'm not so strictly on only the tobacco being important. Sometimes it's the aesthetic, what I'm wearing, my mood, which pipe I fancy out of the rotation that morning. But at least 50%, and sometimes if I know it's a tricky special tobacco, then I would really sit down and think, as I've done in this case, to choose the meerschaum pipe for Maltese Falcon. Not that I'm expecting it to be hot burning, but I'm expecting it to be complicated, a complex tobacco. And if you want to try and get more of the flavour nuances, I think a meerschaum will give you that more authentically. The lighter this morning is my good old Peterson, which I keep in my pocket to keep the gas warm, as otherwise the flame disappears a bit, doesn't it, when it's cold. It's probably going to be 15, above 15 today, so it's not so bad. It's warming up. The tamper is one of the first ones I bought, which was a Merlino tamper, which comes in this two-part kit with the spike at the back here. Well, it was maybe, I don't know, €25, something like that, but it will last you forever. The music this morning is Swiss classic radio and Albinoni, a wonderful Italian composer of Baroque, of course, back to Baroque. So the tobacco. Well, they give you a nice little summary, of course, on the cans, and it gives you sometimes not forewarning, but an introduction of what you're actually going to taste. And so it says stylish, dark, and alluring. And having smoked, this is now my 6th bowl, it's definitely that. So going through my list, you open up the tin. I put a little silver foil in here to try and hold the moisture. I always do that when I'm using the tin to keep the tobacco, and either I decide to finish the tin or then I jar the rest of it. But this is good for, let's say, maybe a month. Well, you open the tin and you get this little paper disc out, which is quite soggy, so you know it's fairly wet. And as you saw in the photo, you get this lovely appearance of pretty dark tobacco. So the leaves are Latakia, Oriental, Turkish and Virginia. And they say it's a ribbon cut, which it mostly is. There are some clumps in there. Somebody said they thought it was flake. I don't think it's flake. It's just slightly thicker cut bits of ribbon, and some have stuck together because it's reasonably moist. So it's not wet towel extreme moist, but you know, it's a bit more moist than the average. The tin note is beautiful barbecue campfire. Now I think there's a middle amount of Latakia in this. It's not a lat bomb, but it's good solid, you know, you can't, and plenty of enough Latakia. And there's some spice in there which they talk about, a mystery spice, and if you go to tobacco reviews, everyone picks that spice up. Tobacco reviews gave this a 3.2. They say there's no topping. Well, the spice is there, and it's gingery, and it's either there is a topping there. Tobacco Review says no, but the can says there is a mystery spice in there. It could be it got in with the Oriental, that they've somehow tailored the Oriental to carry that spice taste in. It's very much like the spice you get with some Periques, and Perique is not listed as one of the leaves here, so it remains a bit of a mystery. Have they topped it in? Have they got a very unusual Oriental to put it in there, or have they you know, put some Perique in there? It is flue cured matured red Virginia, but it's at the level that I'd be surprised if that made the contribution. But I'm not expert enough to know how they got that flavour in there. So the taste, I found, is beautifully sophisticated. It's absolutely a wonderful and fascinating tobacco. So it's smoky it's earthy, it's leathery, it's herbal, it's spicy. There's some sweetness there, just enough for me. A kiss plus. Would have liked a little bit more for my sweet tooth, but there's enough sweetness there. It's creamy and silky, and it's musty. It's a complex one. I call this tobacco a mysterious and seductive redhead, like this one, if you're a Doctor Who fan. So I was wondering about the nick of this one, because depending who you talk to, they say, yeah, medium can sometimes be plus or minus medium, but it's alright, it's fine for me. I can have 2 consecutive bowls and not go in the zitters. I may have actually upped my tolerance a bit over the last couple of years, so that's in a way good news. And I tried last night to change my tempo very significantly, so I really smoked this over an hour. Normally I'm 40-45 minute guy, you know, and it made a big difference. The first bowl I had, and that may have been because the tin was just opened and the ginger was stronger, was really gingery, and almost at the limit that I could still like it. And I thought, you know, this is very curious, but it just shows you've got to smoke a tobacco half a dozen times, and actually over a period it's always going to evolve, and you might be very surprised how it can change to your favour, and you go from not liking it to really loving it. And that's the mystery of tobacco. So never throw anything away or assume you're always going to hate it. Experiment different ways, different tempos, jar it up and wait, and you know, all of a sudden you think, God, this is really good. So last night, for example, was a Nirvana. It was absolutely, and I tried to do it like Mike in Briar Blues, where he made a great video once of that. It just showed that tempo, you know, with about 3 or 4 5-second pause between the puffs. And I was actually reading at the time in the cellar, just like that, you know. And it was exquisite. And the ginger moved back 2 or 3 notches to just, you know, a wonderful level. Now it could have been that when I opened the tin, a lot of whatever it was in vapour phase escaped, and the second, third time a bit more, and it's normalised itself. That could be the reason. I think it was partly also to do with a nice slow tempo, that I would recommend that for this particular tobacco, and probably I recommend it for me for all my future tobaccos to be a bit slower. So this fantastic complex taste, if you like, of course, the lacked campfire, which I do like, and I like the barbecue touch to it. It's got several other dimensions of taste which are just fantastic. Absolutely no bite. If you take it slow. The first time I did 2 bowls back to back, I was, of course, then I'm asking for a bit of, but it wasn't really a bite. It was a kind of tongue tingle that very quickly went away. You know, I brushed my teeth, went to bed, and I thought it's practically gone, you know. So it's more to do with the spice probably. And it burns reasonably cool. You know, of course it's ideal with the meerschaum to control that if it would be a problem, but I don't think you'll have a problem with the briar. I don't think there's enough latakia in it to ghost a briar. Maybe if you 5 bowls a day in the same pipe for 2 or 3 days, you might have a problem. I'm personally not so ghost sensitive, in pipes at least, you know. I'm not so bothered, you know, if there's a bit of smokiness coming into the next blend. After a couple of 3 bowls, it's moved on. Or a bit of sweetness. Being an aromatic guy from tradition, from the last 3 years, mostly smoking aromatics, you know, a little bit of sweetness from one going into the other, you know. But there are tobaccos where, because of the complexity and maybe sometimes because of their flavour strength, it's advisable to use a cob or a meerschaum just to get the feel of them before you move on to some of your favourite briars and think, oh, you know, I'm never going to get this out of it. For example, Multi Dolce as an aromatic is a powerful aromatic, and you know, you might be advised to try that in a meerschaum or a cob first before you try it in briars. What is this tobacco like? Another one. Well, I've tried a sample of Star of the East, and it reminds me a bit of that one. Some people in tobacco reviews said Westminster, definitely. I haven't tried that. I've got a tin, which I'm going to try, maybe in the second series of the English blend videos, let's see. But I think I would say it's, with this little spice touch and the complexity, it's perhaps rather unique. There are some that have similarities, but there's nothing that's really that close to it. I suspect. I haven't tried enough. Somebody else said Dunhill 965. Couldn't say. Definitely Star of the East was a couple of steps in the same direction, but it's got more. This has just got more than I think most others that you would try to compare it to. And for that reason I would say it's an evening smoke for me, in repose, not to go lunting or you know, a nice one, reflective in your leather armchair, if you've got a leather armchair. I wish I had one. To just reflect on these nuances, and while you're smoking through the bowl, they're dancing around each other, so they're not all staying the same. They're entertaining you with a wonderful dance of flavours. So to drink with this, I almost just wouldn't want to spoil the flavours, or something neutral, not too much power in the taste if it's alcoholic. I don't know, maybe a vodka martini or something with very subtle flavours, you know. A botanic water, something like that, to not detract from this wonderful experience. I've heard there's a few colleagues there in YTPC, Curmudgeon Piper, who love this. Well, I love it too. It's absolutely superb. I wasn't sure. Bowl 1, 2, maybe 3, but 4, 5 and 6. It's a seductive redhead. She'll get you. She'll get you. Just half a dozen meetings with this one. I'm so glad I'm trying these English blends, you know. It's what I've been missing. You think flavour, aromatic. No, 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 no. Enormous spectrum of beautiful flavours, and sometimes quite powerful just from the tobaccos. YouTube reviews, there are quite a few. Spurgeon Piper did one, very nice one. Pipes and Guitars 1 year ago. Derek Tant did one 3 years ago. Road King Piper did a nice one about a year ago. Beans 316 did one a year ago, and Sean Fairs did one a year ago. Have a look at those to get a rounded description. So what characterizes this is the complexity and this alluring, as they call it, seductive, I call it, character, which just draws you in. It's like a beckoning siren which you cannot resist. The hypnotism of a redhead vampiress. And that kiss of ginger turns now to something absolutely beautiful at just this modest level with slow smoking. So Tobacco Reviews gives it 3.2, Redcoat's Return gives it 3.6. Not only would I buy it again, I would buy more and have several tins in my cellar of this one. And I was surprised from the descriptions I'd read. I don't know, it might be too strong. I was worried about the nick. Wasn't sure about spice, you know. I thought, I'm not a spice guy, I'm more, you know, I like Latakia, but not too much spice, please. Not true. You find out things about yourself that you didn't expect. So that's my review of Maltese Falcon. That might be the best of the series, I don't know, let's see. It's certainly, if you like complexity and sophistication, this is a great one, great one. Well, I'm going to enjoy the rest of this, and as it's Saturday, April 10th, tonight, Saturday, we have steak and Cabernet Sauvignon, or maybe a nice American Zinfandel. And after that, I shall have another bowl of this. Take care, everyone. Look after yourselves. Cheerio.